Hello everybody. So today I'm doing a little bit of a different video, but I feel like I really want to make this video because I have been literally researching hymns quite a bit. I've been buying it just about every day ever since I decided to dig deeper into this company and to get over the fact that it looks silly on a first thought. But actually, I am really loving this company. This is not investment advice, but let me just walk you through a little bit what I think is so fascinating about HIMSS. So, first of all, it's a company whose revenue growth is at 95% year over year. If you look, 95%, that's the quarter we had very recently, if you look. And we have an higher quarter compared to Q2. So Q3 was bigger than Q2. And Q3 was also bigger than Q1. So that was 94%. We're at 96% sales growth. So we are a company which during the recession has its sales accelerate, even though we're in a recession right now. So the sales are accelerating. The product, in my opinion, is very much recession proof. So first of all, very rare to find a company like that with accelerating sales right now. But this one is. Then I love what I love so much. Oh my, this is like this company has no debt whatsoever. They're going to be cash flow positive in Q4. They have 233 million of cash on the balance sheet. If you look at that, just a EBITDA, very close to cash flow, they should be cash flow positive in Q4. So this company is very, very close to profitability. This is from their latest report. But that's not it. That's not the only thing that's to love. 79% gross margin. Pharmaceutical margins are absolutely insane. Recurring. This is recurring revenue. Much of what they sell is for a treatment that's going to take a few years. So most of their revenue, 90% of their revenue is recurring. And this margin and this revenue really tells me that they are the best cost leader. So not only are they low cost, but I'm going to describe their app in a second. Their apps is also much better than the current system and the current way to get drugs. So they are both the better service with the lowest cost. And as an example of that, and this is specifically ED, but I could take similar examples about hair loss. Did you know? I didn't know that. I had no idea. Did you know that a pill of Viagra used to cost $61? $61, and HIMSS sell this for $3. $3 a pill for a generic version, but they brand HIMSS and they call HIMSS and they try to build a brand name. 61 compared to 3. That is an insane best cost leader type of approach because you get a better service and you get something cheaper. These type of businesses, they win. They typically tend to win. And I know that right now, of course, Viagra is not, the patent is gone, so these drugs are not as expensive as they used to be. And of course, the pharmaceutical companies are competing. So the gap is different now. But that's not the image, right? The image is that the image in society is still that these drugs cost a fortune. I didn't realize it was that high, but it's still that these drugs cost a fortune. And so HIMSS is positioning itself as a way to save money compared to what it has historically cost to get care for some of these more sensitive issues that HIMSS talks about. But I actually think HIMSS is much bigger, much bigger than that. Because I think key to the thesis of HIMSS is that because they are so inexpensive, you do not use your insurance with HIMSS. In fact, they do not accept insurance. And I think this is actually a great case of a blue ocean strategy, a great case of turning the business upside down and disrupting the way this business is usually done. Because it's all outside of your healthcare provider. So it doesn't mess with your deductibles. It doesn't mess with your in-network, out-of-network doctor. And you don't need insurance, which by definition improves the market. You don't have to deal with pharmacies. You don't have to deal with any of the legacy healthcare system to get access to HIMSS products. And HIMSS products are the products that are needed before health really starts getting bad. You typically tend to use what HIMSS and hers offer before you start having the health issues of your 60s and your 70s. And this is also one of these examples where actually doing everything online is a selling point. It's a selling point. You don't have to go in front of a pharmacist to ask hair loss products or to pick up generic for Viagra. You don't have to do that. Or you don't have to go see a provider in a strip mall for a what they call like a low T store in a strip mall. You don't have to go through that experience. This is not the type of experience that is compelling to any patient, right? This is an example when you deal on the sensitive issues. This is an example where having an app is a much, much, much more appealing way to sell than just going into a store and having to talk to someone. You know, when you talk about things like hair loss for men and women, like this is not a topic that's enjoyable. This is something where you want an app, you want to deal with it on an app. So it's quick, it's discreet. You get matched to a doctor that analyzes your case right away and you get a response right away. You don't have to wait months to see a doctor. Like this is a big deal. In some cities, you have to wait for months, months, months to see a doctor. Like I can think, for example, in my own house, gynecologist, you know, we had issue finding one. It was like 9 months. 9 months to find one. So that's absolutely insane. And they offer birth control. So they offer all of these things that typically in the healthcare system take absolutely forever to see someone to actually get care. With hims and hers, you get your treatment right away through the app. And they have tremendous optionality. They can add more and more and more services to that, right? So it's not just ED and hair loss and depression and anxiety. It's much more than that. It can go much more than that. They have huge optionality. Once they develop these brands, hims and hers, they will have optionality to offer, I would argue, all of the healthcare needs that your typical, I don't know, 35 to 6-year-old would need. This company can offer. This company can, and even younger and even older. You know, I don't want to put it into age buckets, but this company can offer that. So we have a tremendous optionality, and I think they can have this. And you know, I didn't understand why they called themselves the future of healthcare. Why did they call themselves the future of healthcare? Well, I think they could. I mean, this. First of all, I love that they have an ambitious goal. That means they don't want to just stay into the three main products that they sell. But second of all, they can address the issues before you need an emergency care, before you need surgery, before you need any type of these very, very expensive interventions that so many people have to do, unfortunately, in their 70s and 80s. You can address those issues before, if only accessing healthcare was easier. And I think this is one of the main reasons to love HIMSS. And I'll quickly go on valuation. I typically don't look at valuation on this channel because typically, you know, the best businesses trade for a higher price. But when I look at valuation for HIMSS, I don't understand this valuation because this business is trading at 1.6 times sales with an amazing gross margin, with recurring revenue, with no debt. And this is kind of my metric on a spreadsheet I'm developing to analyze stock. Their price to forward gross profit, and I assume that gross profit is going to stay about the same regardless, is only 2. You're only paying twice forward gross profit on this stock. I mean, comparing to all of the other stocks I follow, this stock could be 5 times more expensive and it would still be acceptable. No investment advice. But this stock is trading so cheap. It got caught. I don't know in what ETF it got caught. I don't know if just people see it and they're like, oh, it's got the pattern of a SPAC, and people just bucket it as a SPAC and say, hey, it's a SPAC, and so we're not touching those. I don't know what it is, but it's so cheap right now. Not investment advice. But let me just walk you through a chart, which, as you can see, I'm very interested in this company. I'm putting a lot of time into this. I hope it's a good investment. Please tell me if you see a flaw in my thesis here. Please tell me, because I would keep this a small position, and I'm thinking about making it a bigger position. So if you see a flaw, please tell me in the comments. But this is what I see. So in the current healthcare system, most most of what I call the minor health issues are correlated. They're very, very, very highly correlated. That's why we need to talk about whole person care. So, for example, in the take of men, when you look at anxiety, ED, and hair loss, these are different and they can, of course, happen independently of each other, but typically they tend to be highly correlated. And you could add other things, like, for example, obesity. You could add high blood pressure, high blood pressure. All of these health factors tend to be heavily correlated. And so HIMSS has an opportunity for addressing each of these separately early on when you are in your between I would say between 30 and 50 or 30 and 60. When you are in that age bracket, HIMSS has an opportunity to address those issues. And so in the traditional system, when you have any of these issues, first of all, it's important to realize that even though these issues are very, very serious, they are often not covered by your traditional insurance. Often not, especially hair loss, even though those issues are oftentimes correlated with other issues, which then indicate that you may be having bigger issues down the road. So let me just walk you through my train of thought here. Is okay. So in the traditional system, imagine you have any of these issues, you have to battle the traditional healthcare system in order to get care. And most of the time, you may simply get discouraged and not do it because most insurance require you to go for a primary physician. So first of all, you got to get a primary physician. And then you have to get a referral to different trades and different professions. And each of these may take months for you to get to. And then you have to go back and forth. And you have to worry about a disjointed system. You have to worry about whether a type of doctor, for example, doctor that would prescribing you anxiety medicine has to be a different doctor than the one prescribing you hair loss medicine, has to be a different doctor than the one prescribing you ED. They all have to be different doctors. So you have to deal with a disjointed system. You have to be your own advocate and call around, call the pharmacies, call the doctors, make sure that everything's aligned and working well for you. There's a lot of confusion. There's low coordination. There's always risks of upsell, right? Because one may think you have a different problem and may recommend things that you don't need, and you have insurance issues. And actually, it's a big hurdle using insurance. I mean, most people today want convenience. Like I have no doubt that if today you want convenience. Like if say getting a drug reimbursed entirely is going to take you 3 or 4 hours of paperwork and research, and you're going to have to redo that every year, by the way, I have no doubt that people are going to be willing to pay 20 to 30 bucks or 28 bucks, I believe it is, for some of their lower end offerings for something simple, for having an app, for being able to ask questions anytime, for having advice, for having a brand, for receiving something in the mail, for the convenience of not having to drive through the doctor, right? I mean, doctors are everywhere, of course, but if you want an appointment 1 week from now, you may have to drive an hour away if you live in a big city because doctors next door is not available. So there's a lot of issues that having a single app really, really solves. A single app, a single brand, with a discovery system where you answer a simple question and the app can guide you towards what it is that you're experiencing. And remember, there should be many more bubbles here that correlate with each other. All is treated in one place, one credit card. You're not dealing with your insurance. You're not having to send the bills. You're not having issues with your provider canceling an appointment because your insurance needs more time to review what you're asking or what you're wanting to do, right? That happens in the traditional healthcare system. You may have an appointment somewhere in the traditional healthcare system and you get an email and they tell you, oh, we canceled your appointment because your insurance is reviewing what's going on. You have no referrals, no medical professionals. Everything's medical professionals are one button away. So you can have approval for medical professional reviewing a case from one button away. This is the Amazon. This is the Amazon playbook for healthcare. But it's a very, very clever Amazon playbook for healthcare because guess what? So let's talk about something really not fun, which is ED. So what is ED a predictor of, right? So ED in men, of course, is a major predictor of atherosclerosis and heart disease. If you have ED early on, say in your 50s, you have your arteries who get, I mean, to speak frankly, your arteries are getting clogged. And the tiny arteries are the first ones to get clogged. And so it may be a time, like if you have ED, it may be a sign of bigger heart issues. And so you need to get it treated. You need to get it treated. And if you get it treated, say in the example of ED, if you get treated for ED when you're in your 50s, say, or 60s, and you have education through HIMSS, and you have easy access to a healthcare professional that can give you advice through an app, you have all easy access, you may, in a few years, cure your problem of early heart disease through advice. That's why I believe they should have other advice like obesity, like high blood pressure, maybe exercise advice. They should have all sorts of lifestyle advice in there to try to get people to cure those issues before you get to, say, your 70s and 80s, and that's when you have an emergency procedure. You're rushed to the emergency room because all of a sudden, you realize that there's been a latent problem in your health that hasn't been solved because the traditional healthcare system is so slow and so complex, and it's a minor problem. So when you have a minor health issue, are you really going to fight the maze of healthcare specialists if you have a minor health problem? So I think the standard case is that if you have a minor health problem, people don't fight, and they just let the problem go on for years until they have a major problem. So I think by having HIMSS place itself on minor issues before the bigger issues happen, before the need for surgery, for example, for heart surgery, or having a stent put in, and all of the other very scary things that you can do for heart health. Before all of these heart health issues happen, maybe HIMSS can detect for you easily in an app that you have some conditions that are correlated, but maybe indicative of bigger problems down the road. And then HIMSS can cure you. You can have a relationship with a brand that you trust, and have a relationship with him for a few years, and prevent it from worsening. And in the traditional healthcare system, because the process is confusing and it's never an emergency, right? You're never going to cut the line because it's never an emergency. Problems do not get fixed until they worsen. That is a thesis. I'm not saying that's what HIMSS says they do. I'm saying this is kind of the way I see this investment. I find it very, very fascinating. I find it fascinating, and there's lots of things that they could offer. And I'll conclude with this too. Is so of course right now the big business is ED, or loss and anxiety, but obesity treatment, as I said, could be a service. And then you could also have other things, like for example, metformin is very, very it's very highly taken in Silicon Valley. It's like one of these drugs that a lot of people take that could be recommended. If you have high blood pressure, for example. And there's other research from Harvard, say, on like NMN. If you've heard of NMN, like you could incorporate all of these lifestyles, and also skincare. Skincare actually is healthcare. Skincare is healthcare. There's a lot of issues that start with dermatology and skincare, and so much of skincare is not covered. And you can get skincare covered with an app like HIMSS. So I love that it's a single pane of glass. You have a single pane of glass, highly efficient, one app where you can get all of the minor issues taken care of before they turn into emergencies. And I think this is powerful. I think this is a company that is very, very aligned with the times. And I hope yeah, I hope you like the video. Please, not investment advice. This is just entertainment. If you have anything to add, or any kind comment for me, or anything you think I may be off or I should look into, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is not investment advice. This is not lifestyle advice, not healthcare advice. Nothing of the sort. Literally just me talking about why I think HIMS could be bigger than most think. So thank you and have a great day.